peace now. Worrying is never solved anything. But fear is after me. Second guessing, no stressing. Can I just control everything?
Ooh, it's been a long time. Welcome.
Welcome
After
back.
2 months, yeah, it's good to be back. Is this our second episode now?
Second, it'll be
Second,
depending on the order that things get released, but yeah, this should be the same.
Yeah. So welcome to our second episode in 3 months. As you've seen, we've been so active and
We're taking our time.
But you gotta. The more you take time, the more perfect it gotta be. You know what I mean? So. I appreciate everybody who's been through this journey, and we're gonna start this second episode. What are we talking about?
First, you gotta let the people know who we are, just in case it's the first time watching. They may not know who we are.
Oh yeah. So I'm your boy Sina,
and I'm Gobari.
Gobari, your boys over here. GS.
Yes.
Whatever you like to call us, all of the above. Thank you to everybody for tuning in.
Yes.
You'll be surprised how many people be actually tuning in with us, and I don't even know. You know what I mean?
Y'all need to talk to us, man. When we post stuff, leave comments, comment, subscribe, because we don't know.
They be sneaking in.
They be ghost
following.
Ghost following.
Yo. Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, we did that.
You're a ghost follower. Go ahead. Maybe that should be today's topic. Ghost following. That's you.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't but you can. I could get influenced by someone, and I don't gotta follow or like them.
That's called hating.
No, that's not hating. That's the indirect support. So you can still count as.
I gotta pay bills though. These people gotta pay bills. Talk about.
How you know I didn't donate to your podcast without following you?
Share with people.
Buy your merch.
Anyways, if y'all can't tell, we're internally beefing. So, but no. That aside, well, actually, maybe that's connected somehow. Maybe that'll come back up in today's episode. But we're talking about adulting today, right? Getting older, post-college life, what that is like.
Yeah.
How about you? Both of our birthdays are coming up. Mine in February, yours in March.
Yeah.
So how do you feel like with that? Let's just start there. How do you feel knowing you're about to be another year older? How do you feel? Just in terms of where you are?
It just doesn't feel like it. It's not like I have a goal by this certain age. I want to be like this. You know what I mean? I feel like it just naturally, like, I'm just naturally evolving. You know what I mean? And then every year is a kind of a different year. You know what I mean? I don't see when I look at me turning 23, I don't look at it as a bad thing, but also at the same time, it just surprised me how fast I just grown. You know what I mean? And I feel like throughout my teenage years, it was a slow growth. It wasn't like a quick growth. And then once post-college hit, I think that was the time when I had to adapt quickly because I had to start working. I got to start paying bills. So, those leave a great amount of stress on you. You know what I mean? Because you'll be looking, half of your paycheck be going to all these bills when you could have
taxes. Have your paycheck going to taxes.
Federal, unemployment, all those different type of taxes. At this point, they be making up taxes. They're like making up taxes just $2 from here, $3.50
J.
from
Cole
there.
said we should have an app. We should have an app to pick where our taxes go.
Yeah. So I think the best 2 years. No, I mean when I say best, I mean like as far as evolving and growing, was the past 2 years. Even though it was also kind of like the worst 2 years for me, because it just had to force me to go through a path when I didn't want to go to. But at the end of the day, when I look back, that's when you're thankful that you're thankful that it did happen like that. You know what I mean? Whether it's still looking for a job for months and you're just sitting at home with no money, or paying bills, or you have a couple of responsibilities. I think at the end of the day, it just taught me a lot of stuff. And I didn't know. I couldn't. I would never think that I would make it through, but we here, and I have a belief that we could even make it even further, just by past examples that we have. You know what I mean?
Amen. I mean, so like speaking of making it through, like what are some of the challenges you faced and are still facing, like post grad? Whether that's like external, like whether it's having to pay bills, or whether that's like your internal things that you have to deal with, like your fears, your doubts, your insecurities. Like, what are some things you've had to face with getting older?
Well, I think it was just I was kind of like forced to adapt because everything was getting mixed up into one moment. So, for example, I was graduating in May 5th. That's when my dad moved to the US, and then that's when we had to start looking for a new home. We had to find a new car. We had to do all this stuff. And in addition to that, I was still, because post graduate is like you're always stressing out of what's next, right? So it was kind of like so much priorities at once that I was not able to like focus, because we just had to deal with the most important thing. So first of all is to get a new house, get a new car, because that's what's gonna pave the way for me to get a job, or etc. So I think all of those I didn't expect to happen all at once. So when it did happen, then that's when I didn't have a choice. It's like I just had to do whatever I had to do. You know what I mean? Whether it's just apply for 5 months straight without getting a job yet, or buying a car, or finding a house. So in the midst of all of that, it was just kind of like a crazy process, I would say. But looking back at it, I don't know, it just feels like whenever I went to go through something hard and then look back at it, it feels like a great moment for me. But when I'm going through it don't feel like a great moment. You know what I mean?
It'd be like that. Yeah,
So,
that's real. Does that help you now when you experience new things that you think to yourself, oh, I didn't think I was going to make it through that other thing, but I did? So does that help you?
Yeah, so now I think differently. Yeah, definitely. When I'm going through something hard, I think eventually, when I look at the other side, I'll be grateful for what I went through, whether it's, relationships or life or jobs. I think all of them can serve a purpose and a reason why it happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely think that. I definitely think everything happens for a reason.
That's real. Me and you talk about it a lot. Like when we're old, when our grandchildren are playing together, like how when we look back over our life, what are the things that we don't want to like regret, or like be like, oh, we were too afraid to try. So keeping that in mind, with how you said just a lot of things were coming at you at once post grad, as soon as you graduated, right? Yeah. How was that affecting you in terms of your goals and your dreams, just in terms of like, because some people have the luxury of just focusing on what they want to do career-wise, right? They don't necessarily have to worry about just like surviving and like finding a place to stay, having a car to drive, like taking care of the basic necessities kind of a thing. So how do you think that factored into your like goals and aspirations?
Well, I think it's just adjusting my priorities, you know what I mean? Because yes, it's important to focus on my goals, but also I have other more important things to focus about. I'm just saying at that current moment, that's what I was thinking. Because I had parents who were new here, so they don't even know where to go, what to do. They don't, you know what I mean? Like, it's just different. Everything is different here. So I had to be there to help them. Even if it's just a small thing, I just feel like that's the least I could do, because usually in my culture, we have to be close to our parents. And I really think that's really real, you know what I mean? I think all those times when my parents would do stuff for me, so I think now it's my part too to help them out, and I'm happy about it. You know what I mean? I'm definitely happy. So those things are my priorities first before my goals come, because eventually like this will get fixed. It's just a matter of time for it to get fixed. whether it's just doing what I gotta do, buying a house, or so all of those were just um, kind of just all at once. So that's why I think family was most important for me first, and then after it was done, then that's when I started to speak more about my goals, because I felt like I was just getting distracted there here, so it wasn't a possibility for me to kind of like, hey, this is what I want to do, because I have other important things to worry about,
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's real.
it's
That's
definitely,
real.
yeah, it definitely taught me a lesson though.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm. And then so going back to your birthday coming up, being another year older. Yeah, I guess I would ask. I know you said it doesn't really feel like it, and I'm sure, like with all of us, like going through Corona, it kind of just made the past year just kind of seem like
Oh
a
yeah,
breathe, like
nothing.
shorter, like you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But if anything, like, do you think? How do I put it? Maybe there is no change, but if there is, do you think there's been a change in terms of how you were thinking when you were turning 22 last year
Oh
versus how
yeah.
you're turning 23 now? Like, what have you learned from the past year?
I definitely like it. Definitely throughout the year, it helped me to think more rationally, and not sometimes because I learned for myself that when you deal with something or react to something emotionally, it's never gonna work. You know what I mean? You gotta sometimes think rational. I think rational and just I don't know. Try not to get emotions in the way sometimes, because whether it's at work or personal life, sometimes just things test you. So in order for me to kind of like calm down, I just always have to remind myself. It's kind of like a reminder thing that I have to start learning how to be patient and be able to think. I mean, I don't like to say think realistically. I don't know, because sometimes some people say be realistic, but it it doesn't even make sense to me
Do you
when you
mean
say
maybe
be.
perhaps be mature? Think more mature about
Yeah,
things?
think about different options. Just don't think about one side. You know what I mean? So think about different ways um, of a situation. Um, yeah, I think that's the main part, and I'm still focusing on that. But sometimes it does get me. Sometimes I do get mad, and I have to try to maintain my peace, because I feel like a lot of people are trying to distract me from my peace. That's what it is. But I know you could relate, because oh boy.
That's a good segue, because I was about to ask you. I think we both have learned a lot this past year in terms of, and not to throw shade whoever may be listening or watching, but just like a lot of people either we grew up with or just people who have been in our lives, and then in this past year we realized, like, all right, maybe not everyone is like has these same intentions, or like cares about me the same way I care about them, kind of a thing. Um, and I think we've both had to learn what it's like. How do I put it? To be disappointed, right? To feel like, oh, I thought like our level of like friendship or relationship or whatever was here. Um, but I think it makes sense at this age. I think we do start to really find out who are the friends that are going to be there
Mhm.
for like a long time in our lives, and who are friends that maybe we are outgrowing each other. Maybe we're just moving in different directions, kind of thing. Um, so I'll speak first, so you can tell me how you speak on that. I think because that is part of adulting, right? That's part of getting older. Like, who are the people that are in our circle? Who are our like people in our corner? Um, so for me, I don't think it's necessarily been friendships in the past like year for just keeping in the past year. It's more so been my relationship with church as of late. Because for me, growing up, just going to church was a staple, was a foundation in my life. And in the past year, I found myself finding it hard to feel comfortable or feel welcomed and accepted at church.
Why?
because of my bipolar disorder. Just to be, I think that's the most.
So like you mean the past experiences with people who were with you?
Yeah, I kind of how it. Okay, this isn't to like throw shots at whoever may be listening or whatever. It's just how it like came across to me. I just felt like people who should have been there for me weren't there for me the way they should have been, if that makes sense. So it was like I was looking for support and love from this group of people, but then they weren't there for me the way I was expecting them to be there for me when I was going to go through something challenging like that. So now I just don't feel as, and we talked about before, you really know how true a friendship is when it gets tested by something, right? Like you don't really know how.
I told you, yeah, last time I think.
Yeah, like
somebody said, like I'm just paraphrasing.
Yeah.
He said, if you have a 30-year friendship with someone, it's not really a friendship unless you guys get tested with something hard. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
That shows whether you guys will stick together when it's hard or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Here's a question that I'm curious though.
Mhm.
Did you? Well, how am I trying to word this? So the people you had expectation to get love and help from,
Mhm.
did it actually become the opposite? It's
That
like
they
the people who you not expected turned to be beside you, and the people who you expected were not there.
Mhm. Good
Does that sum
question.
up?
I don't
Or
think
is
it's.
it,
I think it's more so that this may or may not be similar to that, but I think it's the people who I wasn't expecting. Not like I was expecting them to be mean to me, if that makes sense. But it's like I wasn't expecting you, because let's just say I had people on like Instagram followers, right? Like people who I haven't talked to since high school or whatever, and they would see the posts that I was making about my mental health, my bipolar disorder, and they would DM me and be like, "Hey, Gabar, I'm so proud of you for talking about this. Like, just know I'm like thinking about you, sending you positive energy, right?" And I'm like, this is someone who I haven't talked to in like 5 years or whatever, and they're messaging me, showing me concern. But it's people who I go to church with every Sunday that don't even seem to like be checking in on me. You know what I'm saying? So I just felt, so it was more so that I was like, I don't have any expectations of these people to care, but you're supposed to be my fellow believers, my fellow group of like people who follow God, or however I'm supposed to describe
oh,
it.
you mean like brother and sister in religion, or you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Or you
like,
call it like brother or sister in Christ, or what?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what you mean.
And it's funny you mentioned that term, because I think a lot of this is probably going to be a whole other podcast episode, so I'll just say it real quick. But the same way people can throw the word friend around loosely, right? It's like not everyone's your friend. Some people you just know. Some people are your acquaintance. Some people you just went to school with, so they're your classmate. They're not really your friend. Or like our generation, people would say, "Oh, bro." It's like, I'm not your bro. Like, we're not really that close. You can't really call me. So I think the same with brother and sister in Christ. It's like a cute thing to say. It sounds real religious and real holy, but it's, if you're my brother and sister in Christ, then actually treat me like your brother or sister. Because if I was your actual family and I was going through that thing, I would hope you would do a much better job of responding, you know? But yeah, so, and I think that's part of adulting though. So how do you, because I never want to be like an old person who's all grumpy all the time and that's just always mean to people. Like, I want to be a happy old person. So it's like, what do we do now that we're getting older and we're experiencing heartbreak and disappointments? How do we continue to live life like being optimistic and not just being like jaded and having a bad outlook on things? How do you think you can do that? Not become a grumpy old person?
That's a good question.
Or you think you're gonna be a grumpy old person?
Nah.
Oh, let's talk. Speaking, if it's okay to talk about it, you let me know how comfortable you are. But speaking about a lot of things that you had to go through, like when your grandma passed, right? Like that was around a similar time, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that was oh yeah, man.
That's a big
wow.
factor. That's a huge factor.
Wow.
Yeah.
I clearly remember the day that. Yeah, it was damn.
Yeah.
I think it's been a crazy. That year was literally really crazy because a lot of things happened, and at that time I was still looking for a job. So literally an hour before I'm about to go to this interview, at this job interview that I was Postgrad. I don't know what it was exactly. Surprisingly, that interview that I had is the job that I got.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah, that was one of them.
Said company. Got you.
Yep.
Good.
Yep.
Wow.
So that's So that's the company that was like, I had 2 interviews. One of them was another one, and then I had an interview after that.
Mhm.
But then that interview got postponed, surprisingly, because I don't know, there was some location issues going on. But that was interesting because literally an hour before I'm about to go to this interview, I found out my grandma passed away.
Mhm.
Right. So I don't know. I don't even know how I made it to the interview with a smiling face and, you know, all those talking points, scripted talking points. I don't even know, bro. I just think, you know, it's been a ride, and I think this is definitely all intertwined.
Mhm.
You know, it definitely means something to me, very, very deep inside me. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
When that happened, it just, this is sometimes. Here's the thing for me, sometimes when there's so much going on that's bad,
Mhm.
I just sit and you know, I just sit and just like go speechless. That's all. I'm not even mad. I'm just speechless.
Mhm.
You know, there's a certain point when, all right, something bad happens, I'm gonna get upset, right? Another thing happens, okay, I'm be upset. Third thing happens, I'll be upset. But if it keeps going, I'm not even upset at this point, because at this point I'm like, all right, it is what it is. I'm like, it's like a speechless kind of thing for me that I kind of figured out. When things happen, I'm just like, I've been through the worst. What else worse can there happen? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So that's what I think. But going through those first three bad things was the hardest one, and then once comes the rest of them, then that's when you be like, I've been through those 3 bad things. I can get through the next one. It's just like, it is what it is. You know what I mean?
And speaking of which, because that's one of the reasons why I brought up your grandma, because would you say she was she like a happy old person, or was she a grumpy old person?
Wow, she was. It's just something about my grandma where she was really peaceful, you know, quiet. I think, and she died she passed away like in a very peaceful way. You know what I mean? That's I definitely think that, you know, it all has a part of how you deal with life. You know what I mean? Because if you're the angry old person, then maybe you're gonna die in a bad way. You know what I mean? Or you're gonna. So the more, I think, the more peace you develop. For me personally, I think we never can develop full peace, because in life we always have things that happen, things that are thrown at us. And I think the only way you can develop peace is when you're 6 feet under. That's the only time when I think you can develop peace. But you can have peaceful moments. You know what I mean? It's just that you can't just be peaceful all the time, because there are certain situations where you have to react differently. You know what I mean?
That's
but
true.
Looking back at it, I don't know. I just feel like that makes this year that I went through so easy for me. You know what I mean? With the COVID and the protests and all this politics stuff going on, it just makes it easy for me looking back at how 2019 was. So yeah, I think that sums up everything. I know for you, around 2018 was kind of like a moment for you. Do you think that because you've been through like even stuff that is way worse than mine, so how do you deal with stuff that are bad now, or when you know what I mean, when you're going through something that you feel like is even when you're down, or when you're going through something that you don't feel like you deserve to go through?
Well, I wouldn't even say what I've been through is like worse than yours, because have you ever heard of pain tolerance? Does that sound familiar? Like, everyone has their own different levels of what they can take, if that makes sense. So just because So yeah, I don't. Everyone has stuff that they go through. Like I don't know what it's like. I haven't lost my grandma yet, right? So when my grandma passes away, I'm gonna be coming to you for advice. I'm like, yo, how do you process that pain? You know what I'm saying? Um, but yeah, for me, it's interesting you brought that up because I was thinking to myself that the common theme last year, 2020, was like quarantining, right, and self isolate and all of this. And I was thinking to myself, I had to self isolate like way before Corona. Like my friend.
Yo, yeah, I think we spoke about
No.
like
Oh wait, say that again.
I self-isolate. Like I think we've been isolating before COVID. You know what I mean?
No, people were saying that as if like they're introverted and like they don't really mess with people. But I meant it more so in the sense like I was like ostracized.
Oh,
A lot of my college people like they forced me to have to isolate from like I literally wasn't even allowed on campus. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So just getting used to being by myself. Like a lot of people had to adjust last year in terms of what it's like to spend so much time away from people, but I got a taste of that a whole year early. And you're right though. I think that's kind of how life works. Like you say, the first bad thing that happens, it makes you really like it's unsettling, it bothers you a lot. And then the next thing comes, you're like, oh my God. And then the third thing comes, and then it's like your body just kind of goes into like a fight or flight response. It's like, all right, I just got to survive. Like, I just got to like go numb. I got to figure out a way to get through all of this, you know, because if I show too much emotion, I won't be able to handle it. But it's like your body just kind of goes into like a survival mode on how to get through these tough times, you know?
Yeah.
And man, let's just take a time just to thank God for how far because you had conversations with me, back in 2019, the summer of 2019, man. Ooh, that was a hard summer, bro.
2019? Was it 2019?
Yeah, because you didn't have a job yet, 2019. Because you got your job in the
fall. So it was like a bunch of stuff going on.
That was a hard summer for us.
It was a hard summer that I don't even remember much of it. It's just like this important stuff that I remember.
Trauma, yo.
Yeah.
Man, and I think I'm sure that's how your grandma. I don't want to say I'm sure. I didn't live her life, but I'm gonna guess that's how she was able to be so at peace, right? Because all the things she saw in her life, I'm sure she was able to like still appreciate the good, if that makes sense, more than the bad. So like even with the things that I went through in 2019, like just the fact that I'm even to be here talking to you right now and be able to look back at that, because like with you there's times I don't know if I'm ever gonna get over this. Like this is the hardest thing I've had. You know what I'm saying? Like, but but now that we're able to look back at it, it's like, man, glory to God, first of all, and then it's like, it makes going forward because it just helps us to know whatever comes our way, we can just look back. Remember, we didn't think we were gonna make it through that either, but we did. So you just keep going. You know, you just keep going in life.
Right with the mob.
Alhamdulillah, real talk, yo. And speaking of which, I think that helps when you, even though you said like, oh, you've never been through what I've been through, I think it does help to realize like, wait, okay, like take a deep breath and realize I'm not the only person who's ever gone through this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not the first person who's ever had bipolar disorder. I'm not the first person who's ever lost friends. Like, other people have been through this, right? And they've made it through. So it is important. It is important to see other people go through hard stuff, and then we can be encouraged by them getting through it and be like, all right, I can get through it too, kind of a thing.
Yeah, I think I think there's different ways you can look at it, you know, that you can get over stuff. But I don't know. It just feels like when you go through certain stuff, it's just like, am I even gonna get through this, right? So, and you'll be surprised what you're capable of. That next few months later, you're basically over everything, and for everybody it's different. But you'll be surprised of yourself, like how fast these things can't affect you no more. You know what I mean? I think that's one. So I feel like definitely feel like I always think to myself, like when I'm like 50 or 60 or whatever, where am I gonna be? Uncle Gobari gonna come through to babysit my kids or something?
Of course. I don't think they're gonna be babysat at that point, but yeah.
Yeah. Or something else.
Yeah.
I'll be in some other location, or
I'll be at their graduation. I'll be like, your daddy was dumb, but y'all graduated. Y'all smart. Yes.
It's like the Bad Boys, Mark Lawrence and Will Smith, when they used to just pull up at their houses.
No doubt.
The wives used to scream at them. Everything. So
she gets if your daughter gets a boyfriend, I'm gonna make sure he's okay. I'm gonna make sure he's good. I'm gonna make sure he's straight.
Let's remove that boy from there, because he's gonna stick to that friend.
Friend. Oh yeah. Friend right into marriage.
Yeah. Friend, and then you got husband.
No in between. My bad. You're right.
We don't got no sidewalks or
no crosswalks, nothing.
No main roads, no traffic lights.
No. Highway. It's a highway.
You see that radar on that traffic light right there? I'm the radar. So once I see you slipping, I'm gonna capture you with the flash. You know what I mean?
Catch you.
So, yeah.
I heard you. Man, amen, bro. I mean, I think this is a pretty good place to wrap up. Don't mind, whenever I'm checking the phone during this, I'm just trying to keep time.
How much time is it?
We've been at 20. Let me double check again. Actually, 30 minutes now. This is like the 30 minute
so yeah, we're just like a couple minutes and wrap it up. Oh man.
So this is beautiful, man. I think I was just telling my boy over the phone, I'm like, yo, like, you're gonna have a great story to tell, because like he took a big decision in his life, like he made a big decision. And I was like, yo, like your life story is gonna be really nice to tell when you're older. And I think for me and you, just like if we, like, God help us just to keep this like positive like mindset when it comes to like living life, we'll be able to talk to our grandkids when they come to us and they tell us like, yo, my friend was I'm recording a podcast. Okay.
Yeah, this gotta be in the bloopers. This is gonna be in the bloopers. I promise you. Behind the scenes.
But what was I saying? She just wanted me to bake something. I lost my train of thought. What was I even talking about?
This is the cons of living with your family. Yeah.
No, we didn't talk about that. We didn't talk about that.
My dad be calling me all the way from the living room. All of a sudden, you hear someone yelling, someone trying to cook something. In the midst of you trying to speak about your depression, you hear some cooking pan, someone frying an egg.
For real, it'd be like that.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah, we'll be when our grandkids come to us and they're like, yo, I just like my friend at school, we're like having a fight or whatever, right? And then we can just give them advice, like, hey, like this is what it's like sometimes when you go through things with friends, we can just give them advice. So man, that'll be a beautiful thing.
Yeah, my kid's gonna come up to me, oh yeah, this girl left me. I'm like, I've been through that. You'll be fine. I've been there. My friend did this to me. Oh, you'll be alright. You know what I mean?
All right, y'all. We hope you enjoyed this another episode.
Season 8 finale.
If anybody wants to sponsor us, any companies, any brand deals, we will read some advertisements. Get that money.
Or they're just gonna send us some ambassador stuff and gonna get a code for 15%.
Man, nah, I need a code from like, I was gonna say, well, but let me not say that what I was gonna say. I'd be like, yo, use this code Straight Path for 20% off your next purchase.
Yeah, sponsored by Samsung.
Yeah. All right, y'all, be blessed, and we'll see y'all
y'all
next
stay safe.
episode.